we're going to be talking about 4 ways to become a more confident motorcycle rider. This is episode 2 of Motorcycle Survival Training. Episode 1, we talked about risk assessment, risk management, and then developing your motorcycle skills. Those are all things that you're going to need to build upon in order to be more confident and a safer rider. So I understand a lot of you guys are new, but there's a lot of you that aren't new, but there's a few things that I know some of you are not confident in. For instance, myself, when I first started riding, I wasn't confident in anything, but I started getting more and more confident doing this, where I'm just riding straight. But man, just until last year, my slow speed maneuver stuff was not good, and I was not confident. So in order to be confident, you actually need to start developing some skills, okay? So if you are very good at controlling your motorcycle, you'll have a more enjoyable ride. So whenever it came to slow speed stuff, I was not enjoying it. I was freaking out, scared. I just decided to put my feet down and walk it. Now I can do some slow speed stuff relatively easily because the more and more practice I've done, the more confident I have gotten. So if you're less proficient, you might go beyond your comfort zone. So that comfort zone of just doing this, where I'm just nice and straight, felt great. The moment I had to slow down and do a U-turn when there's traffic, oh crap. So what I like to do is I like to learn from others' mistakes. So during my live streams, we watch other people crash, we watch other people get near misses, and then we actually talk about, what led up to the crash, what happened, did they use too much front brake, did they not counter steer enough, did they use too much speed, was it an obvious issue here and there, how could we prevent that? That's what I like to do. I'd rather learn from other people's mistakes. I don't want to create my own mistakes. I don't want to do them myself and then crash, and now I'm out for 6 months or more because I can't afford a bike or I'm injured. All for what? So I can practice a mistake that I can learn from somebody else? Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to learn from someone else. So during the live streams and then all the other observations that I do is that I see a few things here and there. So we're going to do a little thought experiment, and I want you to see if you're part of this, okay? Are you naive? Do you understand that riding is dangerous? Do you? Write in the comments. You ever heard of the if not, but when? Yeah, so it's not if you're gonna crash, it's but when you're gonna crash. Now, my goal with training and my goal with risk assessment and risk management and developing my motorcycle skills, hey, we got a motorcycle rider behind us, is to make sure that my skills will push that win as far away as possible. I'm trying to delay the inevitable, as you could say. Now, do you have an inflated ego? Now, I try my best to be as humble as possible with my motorcycle skills and pretty much any skills that I have in life. So are you humble though? Okay, I know I'm not the best and I understand that. I won't ride above my abilities unless I'm doing it at the range or in a practice setting. Okay, I won't push my abilities and I won't push myself unless I know it's in a safer environment. Why would I practice any crazy stuff here when I got traffic, road debris, downhill slope, all this stuff, intersection, when I could just do this at a range where there's no one there and it's perfectly safe to do so. So taking a class is massive in developing your skills. So I know he's in a good formation with me, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on over here. I saw that he was in a good spot. Another thing I see other riders have is inexperience. Now that could just be inexperience in slow speed maneuvering like I talked about. So I wasn't very good at slow speed maneuvers because I was inexperienced with it. I decided to go practice, and then I became better. Okay, so many riders crash because they take on more than what they are trained for. So don't be that person. If you are not trained or you don't know what to do when it comes to mountain riding, go up there nice and easy. It's a practice session. Practice. There's no reason to rush it. There's no reason to push it, especially if you're not trained for it. So don't do that. We see this a lot. And having false confidence from intoxication is huge, okay? It's huge. Alcohol, cannabis, other intoxicants can cause riding issues, okay? Many accidents are caused by an intoxicant. Now, it doesn't have to be alcohol, cannabis. It could be any type of hard drug. Could be anything like that. Really got to watch out. Okay, do not ride on 2 wheels where you have to have perfect balance like this slow speed stuff if you're going to be drinking and riding. Don't do that. Okay, you got 2 wheels, it's very hard to balance anyways. All right, number 2, we're going to be focusing on the mental skills. Mental skills play a huge role when it comes to motorcycling, okay? Now, a lot of people talk about, well, I got to learn how to swerve, I got to learn slow speed, I got to do all this stuff. Guys, we're here to survive. We're here to survive. We're not here to do any fancy parlor tricks, okay? Okay, we're here to learn the emergency maneuvers. We're trying to cut out the fat, and we're trying to do the best we can so we don't die on these roads. Okay, so let's focus on the mental skills. Let's not worry too much about the physical stuff. That will come later, and that will be a huge portion later. So if you can't see the hazard, you can't avoid the hazard. So all your super duper physical skills won't mean squat if you can't even see what's coming up. Okay, so that also plays into your vision. So make sure you get your eyes checked. Okay, go see the doctor and be aware of that. You know, risk assessment. If your eyes aren't as good as what they used to be, maybe it's time to get glasses or contacts. So start mitigating that risk. So anyways, if you can't see the hazard, you can't avoid the hazard. So this car in front of me, I have to pay attention to the brake lights, make sure it doesn't hit the brakes and hit me, or I hit them. I'm also looking at potholes. I'm also looking at cars, oncoming cars. I'm also looking at this truck wanting to turn left. Maybe he wants to get back into this lane. You have to find these hazards, that red car over there. You have to find the hazards before you can avoid them. So all the physical ability in the world won't remedy poor judgment or the inability to manage challenging situations. So if you have poor judgment, guys, it won't matter if you have the best physical ability in the world. You're not going to avoid the hazard. So when I see people do all this crazy stuff, you know, they talk about, you know, I got my knee down up on Mount Lemmon, or I went super duper fast and, you know, up in Phoenix, whatever the mountain is. I think to myself, that's great and all, but can you avoid a hazard? Do you know how to do an emergency swerve? Do you know how to do a U-turn at an intersection? Or can you just go fast in a straight line? Possibly go fast with a curve? Can you do that? It won't matter if somebody pulls out in front of you in the middle of that, or you can't see that rock in that middle of the curve while you're doing your knee down. It don't matter. You need to pay attention and find those hazards. One of the biggest things that I could take away from the fire service is that you have to be motivated to learn. You have to want to learn. And it's not necessarily, well, let's learn about how to, you know, change a tire, or let's learn about, you know, changing out our mirrors here. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being motivated to learn safety. Let's learn safety. That's what's going to keep you alive. That's one thing that we learned in the fire service, is to keep us alive and others alive. That is the whole goal. That is the only goal, and that is the only goal I have when I ride this motorcycle. I love riding motorcycles. I love it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to love it if I'm dead. So safety needs to take a priority. Everything else can take a step back. And to be quite honest, when you are safe, everything is a lot better. So constantly be reading, listening, watching, everything, constantly. Take in what's good, throw out what's bad. Take in what works with you, throw out what doesn't work with you. I need to know the ins and outs if I want to talk about it on YouTube. Okay, so I have to not only talk about it, I have to present it, I have to edit it in a way so you guys can hear it, so you guys can see it, so you guys can understand it. And if it doesn't work, I gotta redo it. So I'm constantly reading, constantly learning, constantly watching, constantly improving, because my goal, my mission statement here is to keep you guys safe and to build confident riders. So that's what I want to do, and if I can't even do it myself, then there's no point in showing you. So I gotta make sure I know the ins and outs. Number 4, you gotta challenge yourself. Okay, we talk about, you know, not pushing yourself. Don't go outside your limits unless you're at what? The range? Yes, unless you're at the range or you're out in a parking lot where it's nice and safe, no traffic. So a Sunday at a school or during the weekdays at a church, perfect parking lots to practice on. So in order to become better, you have to challenge yourself. You have to push yourself just a little bit. Think of working out. It's a progressive overload. Let's say for some reason you bench with 5 pounds. Well, next week you bench with 10 pounds. The next week you bench maybe with 15 pounds. Whatever it is, you start adding more and more and more. You don't go from 5-pound bench press to, well, I'm gonna throw in 150 pounds or something. I don't know. Whatever it is. You don't do that. You don't make that massive a jump. So I'm not sitting here riding in town like, oh, I'm good. I've been commuting to work, you know, 6 months now. I'm gonna go up Mount Lemmon. I'm gonna go crazy on these mountains. Boom, done. That's going from 5 pounds to 150 pounds. Work yourself up. Do some roads that are nice and curvy, but not super scary and not super dangerous. So when you're challenged to do these things, when you start adding more and more difficult things, you ever notice that you get more in tune with what you're doing? You're focused on what you're doing. All the noise in the world is gone. That's the beauty of motorcycling. That's the beauty of challenging yourself, because now you're 100% focused on the ride. You're 100% focused on what you need to do, and you do it. you learn and you learn and you enjoy it, and that is how you start building up your confidence. Like I said, grow incrementally. Do not jump from one easy thing to I should be here now and jump to a hard thing, like going crazy. And don't let others peer pressure you into doing that, okay? So if they're going up a mountain and you're not ready, do not go. Tell them that maybe you'll go up the first half and you'll come back down. And if they tell you, nah, come on, it's easy, just let them know, hey, I'm not comfortable, okay? For this episode 2 of Motorcycle Survival Training, make sure you watch episode 1. I will have a link in the description, and I'll also have it at the end of this video. But guys, please, ride safe, be safe, and I'll be seeing you around.